Hey guys, it's Quinn here, and I'm gonna do another video. I'm gonna do another reading part, which is part 4, so I hope you enjoy this. What a stroke of revenge that was. All Athenians will spread Orestes' fame across the world. A song for those that came. If only the gods would arm me in such power, I'd take revenge on the lawless, brazen suitors riding on the house shot over me. Prodding reckless outrage, but for me the gods have spun out no such joy. For my father or myself, I must bear up, that's all. And the old charioteer replied, now that you mention it, dear boy, I do recall a mob of suitors. They say, besets your mother there in your own house, against your will, and plots your ruin. Tell me, though, do you let yourself be so abused? Or do people round about, stirred up by prompting or of some guide, despise you know? Who knows if you will return someday to take revenge on all of our violence? Single-handed, perhaps, or with an Argive army at his back. If only the bright-eyed goddess choose to love you just as he lavished care on a brave Odysseus years ago in the land of Troy, where the Achaeans struggled. I never seen the immortals show so much affection as a palace openly showed him. Staying by your father, if only should favor you. He tend with you all with your heart. Many a suitor then moves all the thought of marriage. Never your majesty. I heard that word before. Telemachus countered gravelly, that will never come to pass. I know that what you say dumbphones me. Stragers and machination, hope holds as I will, but day will never dawn, not even the gods should will it so. Telemachus. Paula's Athena broken sharply, her eyes afire. What's this nonsense slipping through your teeth? It's a light work for a willing God to save a mortal, even half the world away. Myself, I'd rather sail through years of trouble and labor home, see that blessed day that hurry home to die on my own earth like an Agamemnon. Kill thy Aegistheus, cunning by his own life, but a great leveler, death not even the gods can defend a man, not even one they love, that day when the fate takes hold and nugs and weighs him out of the past. Mentor ways, Telemachus said, distraught as we are for him. Let's speak of this no more. My father's return, it's inconceivable now. Long ago, the undying gods has sealed his death, his black doom. But now there's another question I will put to Nestor. Nestor excels all men for scenes to justice. His knowledge all the world. These generations he has ruled. They say, into my young eyes, he seems to a deafer god. Nestor, son of Neleus, tell me the whole story. How did the great king Agamemnon meet his death? Where was Menelaus? What fatal trap did he set? That treacherous Agathias to bring down a man far strong than himself? Was Menelaus gone for Achaeans, Argos, Roman world somewhere? So the coward found the nerve to kill the king. And old Nestor, the noble charioteer, replied, gladly, my boy, I'll tell you the story first to last. Right you are. And you guess what would happen if red-haired Menelaus ever even back to Tony, the Troy. Sorry, I said Tony, I can't say it. Troy. Had found Odysseus alive in Agamemnon's palace. No burial piled high on earth for his dead body. No, but dogs and birds would have feasted on his corpse, sprawled on the plain outside of the city gates. And no woman in all Achaea would have left in a moment, such as no monstrous cremeth the man countrified. But there we are, camped at Troy, battling out the long, hard campaign while he has his SEs at home. In the depths of the Argos, Stylian country, he laid side to his wife with Agamemnon, wearing and teasing her with talk. At first, true, she spurned the idea of such an outrage. Clytemnestra, the queen, her will faithful still. If there was a man, what more a bard close by, to warm Agamemnon, setting sail for Troy, giving strict commands to guard his life. But then the day of the doom of the gods had bound her to surrender. But Odysseus ship departed away to the desert island, marooned them here, sleep deprived for birds of prey, and supped her off in his own house, lover lusting for lover. Of many thigh bones he burned his God's holy altars. Many gifts he hung on the temple walls, golden brocades for a thank you for conquest past his maddest hopes. Now we, you see, were sailing home for Troy in the same squadron. Menelaus and I comrades in the arms and for years of war. But since we rounded holy Sonian, Athens Hadrian warred Apollo, attacked Atrides Hellesmans. I, with his gentle shafts high, she shot the man in death. An iron gripped on his tiller, the graft scuttling fast, Prontus Ometer's son, which killed all the men alive, and the steering ships and he goes bore down in fury. So Menelaus, straining to sail on, was held back until he could bury in his mate with failing rights. Once he got off to, ploughing the wine dark sea, his ripped ships and made a run the Melia's beating cape. Pouring a hurricane down upon him, shirling winds got giant, rolling like caps monstrous mountain high. It was at the stroke he cut his fleet in half and drove open one wing to Crete, where Sidonians make their homes along the Warriors River. Now there's a sheer cliff, hung on the steep to the surf of the farthest edge of the Jordan, out of the mist-bound sea, where the sound piles breakers, huge ones, with a headwind's horn toward Phaestus. With only a little reed to block the crushing tides, and they sailed, and barely escaped their death. The ship's crews, that is, rose smashed their holes against the rocks. But as for the other hive, with pitch-black prows, the lion current swept him on toward Egypt. So Menelaus, amassing the hoard of stores and gold, was out cruising his ships in the forine parts of while Odysseus hatched his vicious work at home. 7 years he wore down on Mycenae, rich in gold. Once he killed Agamemnon, he ground the people down, but the 8th year urged in his ruin, Prince Orestes, home for Athens. Yes, he cut him down, that cunning, murderous Odysseus, who killed his famous father. Vengeance done, he held a feast for Argives to bury his hated mother, graven against Zeus too. The very Menelaus arrived, a word of war cry, very well the wealth in his ships could carry. So you, dear boy, take care, don't root for home too long, too far, with your own holdings unprotected. Crowds in your palace so brazen, they'll carve up all your wealth. Give her it all, and then your journey here will come into nothing. Still, I advise you, urge you to visit Menelaus. He's back for abroad at last, for people so removed you might abandon, hope of your ever returning home. Once the legs that driven you that far off crow's course into a sea so vast not even cranes would wing their way in 1 year's flight, so vast it is, so awesome. So off you go, with your ship or shipmates now, or if you'd rather go by land, there's a team and chariot, my sons are at your service too. And they all escort you, send you like a Agamemnon, home of the red-haired king, press him yourself to tell the whole truth. He'll never lie. The man is far too wise, so he closed the sun instead of the darkness swept across the earth. As a bright-eyed goddess, Pallas spoke for all. There was a tale old soldier, so well told. Come cut out the victim's tongues and mix to wine. So once we poured libations out of the seaward and every other god, will think asleep high time his lights already sunk in the western shadows. It's wrong to linger while the gods feast, we must be on our way. Zeus's daughter. They all hung closely on every word she said. Heralds sprinkled all water over their hands for rinsing. The young man brimmed the mixing bowls with wine. They tipped the first drops for the god in every cup. They poured in full rounds for all. They rose and flung victims' tongues on the fire and poured libations out. When they poured and drunk to their heart's content, Athena and Prince Telemachus both started up. to head for their ship at once. But Nestor held them there, objecting strongly. Zeus forbid. Be ever deathless, good as gods as well, that you restore to your ship. It would put my house behind like a rank paupers without a stitch of clothing, no piles of rugs, no blankets in its place, for hosts can get iced, sweltering, soft, and comfort. Why, I'm plenty of fine rugs and blankets here. No, by God, but true son of my good friend Odysseus will bed down on the ship's deck. Not while I'm alive, or my sons are off at home to house our guests. Whoever comes to our palace, you found friends. Dear old man, you're right, Athena exclaimed, her eyes brightening now. Telemachus should oblige you. Much a better way, let him follow you now. Ship and sleep in your halls, but I'll go back to our trim black ship. I'm so sorry, guys. My voice gets a little cranky because I have to let me get something out. All right, sorry about that. Harden the crew and give each man his orders. I'm the older veteran in their ranks. I tell you, all the rest of the age of brave Telemachus. Did you know did you know veterans are Thanksgiving? Well, even Thanksgiving is not until November, but veterans have Thanksgiving has veterans too. So let's move on. Our younger men who sailed with him as friends, I'll bed down there by the dark hole tonight, and don't push up with the proud Chalconians. These people owe me debt long overdue, and know me some believe me. But you see, my friends is now your guest. Speed on his way, with a chariot on your son, and gave him the finest horses that you have. Brother Stamina, trained for rance to wind. With that, with bright-eyed goddess winged away, in the eagle's form of flight, as amazement fell on Achaeans there. The old king, astonished by what he's seen, grabs Telemachus' hand and cried to the prince, "Dear boy, never fear, I'll be coward or defenseless. Not at your young age, if God will guard you so. Not of all you dwell on Olympus, was one of the Zeus' daughter, of glorious one, his firstborn, his prize or gallant father, among his Argives. Now, O queen, gracious, gives us high renown. Myself, my children, my own life and clean, I'll make you a sacrifice, a yearling heifer, brought him a braille unbroken, never yoked by a man, but I'll offer it to you. I'll sheathe horn in gold." So he prayed, and Pallas Athena heard his prayer, and Nestor, the noble chariot, his driver, left him on. His sons and his sons-in-law, back to his regal palace. Once they reached his stories halls, the aged king, they sat on his rows and rolling high-backed chairs. As they arrived, only mixed them in all a bowl, stirring the hearty wine, seasoned 11 years before a servant broached it, loosed its seal. Mulling it in a bowl, old Nestor poured a libation now, praying hard to the Pallas Athena, daughter of Zeus, who shielded storm and thunder. Once they poured their offerings, drunk her fill, the Pylians went to rest, each in his own house, but noble chariot driver wet Telemachus, King Odysseus' son, sleep at the palace now, and a court bed inside it, echoing Calamity, with the prince Pisistratus there beside him, the young spearman already captain of armies, while the last son was still unled within walls. The king retired to chambers deaf at his lofty house, and cleaned his lap errand and chamber bed. When young Donna with her rose-red fingers shone once more, old Nestor, the noble chariot driver, joined his bed, went out and took his seat on the polished stones, a bench glistening white, rubbed with glossy oil. Pallas that came before looming doors. Ternilius held his Caesians years ago, a match for gods and consul, but his fate has long since forced him down to death. Now Wario Nestor in turn, Achaeus watched him ward, sat there and holding the scepter with his sons, coming out of the chambers, clusters around him. Hovering near a Cyprian, Storidius, and Perseus, and Artius, Thrasymades like a god in sixth, Young Lord Pisistratus came to join their ranks and escorted Prince Telematus into the sight beside them. Nestor noble charioteer, being in a separation, quickly my children carry out my wishes now. So I may please the gods, Athena first of all. She came to me in Poseidon's following feast, Athenia's in all her glory. Now someone goes to the fields and fetch a fever filler here at once. A herdsman drive her in. Someone hurried down to Prince Telematus' black ship. Bringing up all his crewmen, leaving just two behind, and other tell our goldsmith, skilled Odyssey is, to come and sheathe his hiver's horn in gold. The rest stay there together till the maids inside the hall to prepare a sumptuous feast. Bring seats and firewood, bring pure water too. They all pitched in to carry out of his orders. He came for his fields. The crewman came to his brave Telematus ship. Miss Smith came in with all his gears in his hand. With tools off his trade, the anvil, hammers, and well wrought his tongues he used. The working gold, and Athena came as well to attender sacred rites. The old horseman passed the gold to the smith. Between the foil, he sheathed the heifer's horns, so the goddess' eyes might dazzle, delighted with the gift. Next Aratus and at Shepburn, we the beast by the horns at Aratus, coming for the storeroom, brought in a water, filling a flower-braided bowl. In his other hand, the barley in his basket. Phrasy Medes, staunch in combat, stood ready, welded with whetted axe, his grasp to cut the heifer down. Perseus held the basin for the blood. Now Nestor, the old charioteer, began to write, pouring the lustral water, scouring berry meal, who lifted up the ardent prayer of Pallas Athena. Watching the sacrifice, flinging onto a fire the first tuft of the hair onto a victim's head. Players said the scouting, blurring, stern, suddenly Nestor sent impetuous. Freezing Medes struck by the clothes and struck the axe shaft in the neck, tendons through. And the blow stunned the heifer strength. The woman showed her cry. Nestor's daughter's son's life, and with his own loyal wife. Eurydice Clymenus, eldest daughter, had been hoisting up the Titan's head for trampled earth. They held her fast as the captain, the man Pisistratus, slashed her throat. Dark blood gushed forth. Life ebbed for her limbs. They quartered her quickly, cut the thigh bones out, and all according to custom wrapped them round and fat. A double fold, sliced clean and topped with the strips of flesh. An old king burned these over dried split wood, and over fire poured over glistening wine, while the young man at his side of the 5 pronged forks. Once they burned the bones taken to the organs, they sliced for rest of pieces, spit them into skewers and raisin points of fire, and broiled all the meats. During the ritual, lovely polycast, the youngest daughter of Nestor, Neleus' son, had bothered Daft. Telematus rinsing him off now. Rubbing him down with the oil, she drew a shirt and handsome cape around him, and that was bad. He stabbed, glowing like a god, strolling back like an old Commander Nestor. They rode him in prime cuts, pulled him off the spits, and sat down on his feast while ready to his soul. Rounds of the wine and kept the gold cups falling. When they put as I desire, the food and drink, the Nestor and chariot driver issued orders. Hurry up, my boys. Bring Telematus the horses and gold full maned team. His the chariot, he must be off at once. They listen closely. They snapped his commands and hitched a rapid team. The chariot's yokes in haste. The housekeeper stole some bread and wine aboard meats too. Food fit for sons and kings. Telematus folded onto his splendid chariot. Right beside him, Nestor's son, Pisistratus, captain of armies, brooded sighs of reins, whipped the team into a run, and horses flew. Hold nothing back, out in an open country, leaving the heights of Pallas fading in their trial, shaking the yoke across their shoulders all day long. The sun sank on the roads of the world grew dark. As they reached Thera, pulling up Abiades hollows, and the son of Ortilochus said an Alpheus river. He gave them to royal welcome. There they slept at the night. When young dawn and their rose-red fingers shone once more, they hailed their pair again and mounted on the blazoned car and out through the gates. And an echoing quell made when they let the team do a run on, they flew, hold nothing back. And the princes read the wetland, straining now for journey's end. Josaphat froze pure bed. Stallions raced feminine, and the sun banging the roads of the war, they grew dark. Book number 4. Chapter 4. The King and Queen of Sparta. At least they gained the ravings and the lazy demon, ringed by heels, and drove up by the halls and the Menelaus of his glory. They found the king inside his palace, celebrating with throngs and kingsmen in a double wedding feast for his son and lovely daughter, the princess he was setting on to the son of the great Achilles, breaker of armies. Years ago, Menelaus of old, he snotted Athens at Troy and plagued her hand, and now the gods were sealing for the marriage. So he was sending her on her way with a Chaman chariot north to the Myrmidons or something, famous city governed by her groom for Sparta. He brought out Elector's daughter as a bride for his own full-grown son. The hardy Megasthenes, born in by a slave, to whom the gods had granted no other offspring once she had borne with her first child. A breathtaking Hermione, in luminous beauty, gold as a Aphrodite. So now they feasted with a grand high-roofed palace, all the king clansmen of Menelaus in his glory, revealing warmly here as there in midst. An inspired bard sang out and struck his lyre, and threw in a pair of tumblers as dashed and sprang, with whirring and leaping handsprings leading on a dance. The travelers, Nestor's shining son and the Prince Telemachus, had brought themselves and their horses in a standstill, as outside of her court when a good lord Eteonus, yes, passing through the gates now and saw them there in ready aim and arms, and Menelaus took the message through his sovereign's halls, and stepping close to his master's broken news, strangers had just arrived, and your majesty, Menelaus, 2 men. Sorry, my battery ran out. 2 men that build like kind and mighty Zeus himself. Tell me, should we unhitch 13 for hell, or set them someone free to host them for well? For what her king, great offense to all of that, never fool before. Astonius, son of the Boethius, now I see you're babbling like a child. Just think of the hospitality wherein we enjoyed at the hands of the other man before we made it home. The gods save us for such hard trucks in the years to come. Clicks unhitch their team and bring them in. Strangers get to share their following feast. Back through the hall as he hurried, calling out to other brisk attendants to follow quickly. To follow this, they loosed the sweating team for under the yoke, tethered them fast by reins and inside the horse stalls, tossing feet at their hoops, while barley mixed with wheat, caning with the chariot up against the polished walls, shimmering in the sun, they ushered their guests into that magnificent place, both drugged by light by the side, made marveled up and down the house of the warlord dear Zeus. A radiance strong of the moon or rising sun came floating through the high-roofed halls and illustrious Menelaus. Once they feast their eyes with gazing at it all, into the burnished tubs they climbed and bathed. Then, when women had washed them, rubbed them down with oil, draw warm fleece and shirts around their shoulders, they took up seats, and of honor next to our atrides Menelaus, and brought water sent the graceful golden pitcher, over a silver basin tipped it out, so they might rinse their hands. They then pulled a gleaming table under to the side. A staid housekeeper broke on bread to serve them. Appetizers aplenty too, lavish with her bounty, and carved with lifted platters of meat toward them meats of every sort, and set before them golden cups. The red-haired king, Menelaus, greeted both guests warmly. Help yourselves to food, and welcome. Once you dine, we'll ask you who you are. But your parents' blood is hardly lost in you. You must be born of kings. Bred by the gods that wield the royal scepter. No men that could sire sons like you. With those hands, with those words, they passed with them with the rich wine, with his own hands, the choicest part. He has been served himself. They reached for the good things he got without spread. When they put aside desire for food and drink, Telemaches, leaning his head close to Nestor's son, spoke well in a prince no one else could hear. Look, Pisistratus, joy of my heart, my friend, the sheen of the bronze, the blade of the golden and amber, silvery and ivory too. Through all the echoing Manasian mansion, surely Zeus's court of Olympus must be just like this. The boundless glory of all wealth inside, my eyes dazzle, I am struck in wonder. Okay, so I'm going to stop this part right here because I'm going to save it for part 5, so I'll see you guys later in peace.